Hey guys, this is Collin Moshman for CardRunners.com. Today we have a live 4-tabling session, including a 7 turbo, a 15 turbo knockout, a 350 turbo, and a 7 turbo. And I have a few tables up in the background out of the main viewing area, just in case we bust a couple. We'll have plenty more to load. Let's start off by talking a little bit about the HUD. And so at the 4 tables, we have VPIP, followed by PFR, followed by 3-bet preflop, and C-bet the flop as the last stat. And then on the second row, we have the player name, number of blinds, fold to flop C-bet, and then the number of hands that we have to observe, which is in red. So in the knockouts, one of the things we're going to be looking for is to adjust for the bounty. And the biggest way we're going to do that is, first of all, when deciding whether or not to call an all-in, we can look at the bounty as being roughly a quarter of a starting stack, so approximately 375 chips. It's not perfect since chips have nonlinear value. The more we have, they're going to decrease in value, but it's still a good approximation. And we'll 4x the ace-king over the UTG limp. So my raise for isolating there is going to be ace-queen, ace-jack suited, 9s plus, and the lower pairs I would over-limp. He does have very loose stats, but it's only over 8 hands, so our guess is that he's going to be playing quite loose, but we don't know for sure, given that it's such a small sample. And I will c-bet here for a couple of reasons. One is that there are worse hands and draws you can call with. Hands like king-queen with a single spade, 7-6 of diamonds. So there is definitely the potential for a worse hand to call. And in addition, it's going to set us up, assuming that he doesn't check raise us too often, to decide on the turn whether to check it back and take the free card, or to value bet, such as when we hit top pair, top kicker. And so again, that's the main difference with the knockouts, that we will generally add 375 chips to the pot when we're deciding whether or not to call an all-in, both pre-flop, which is going to be most common, or post-flop as well. And then we'll also shove wider when we have our opponents covered, because we will be eligible for that bounty when we do knock them out. So when they fold, we're going to win the same amount, and when they call, then there is effectively overlay when we have them covered. On the top right table, our limping player is playing 43-29 over a very small sample, and so I'm going to raise a similar range that I would have normally opened in the hijack. That'll go down to king, jack, offsuit, queen, jack suited or so. Very dry ace-high flop. And I will c-bet this, but we really don't need to bet all that much. I'm going to bet about a third of pot, looking to take it when nobody has anything. Pretty good risk-reward ratio, and a pretty easy decision if we get raised to just leave the hand. And if one of them does call, I'm pretty much just going to give up on the hand. There is some chance we get to show down king high. Maybe he calls with a hand like 6-5 that has just a gut shot. So a little bit of showdown value. But if he fires, we'll just toss it. Probably has a 7x hand, or we were actually good at the flop, but then he backdoor trips and elected presumably to go for a check raise instead of betting for value. Bottom right table, I'm going to c-bet, or not c-bet, he limped, and now I'm going to bet when he's checked to me, since 8 high really doesn't have showdown value, and there is a small semi-bluff component there, but pretty much any time that it's a player in the small blind open limping, we check back. We will raise pretty wide. When we do check back, and he checks the flop to us, and we don't have showdown value, that's a great spot to bluff. So after our last raise pre-fill on the top right, we'll try again with our ace-10 suited. This is about the bottom of my range. And we get just the big blind, who's called the initial limper folds, and I'm definitely going to c-bet here. About half pot. And we'll see how he replies. He has very loose stats over a small sample. He check raises, so an easy decision to get out.